Welcome to auditory testing. Welcome to auditory testing. You have successfully hear this test auditory testing. Welcome to auditory testing. Hello, test subjects, and welcome to Capris Laboratories. Thank you for signing your NDAs and taking the time to join us for this exciting research as we seek to further humanity. Wait, should we reword that? It seems a little... Oh, this is live. Oh, sorry. To further humanity. Our innovative research aims to make players stronger and more resistant. And don't worry, these trials are all perfectly safe. Sorry. Doctor, is that light meant to be flashing? What does that mean? Are you feeling okay, Doctor? You look a little, Doctor? What are you... No, don't come near me, don't!
This is an urgent safety message. There has been a containment breach in viral chamber 1902. The campus compound is now in lockdown. Please evacuate the laboratory immediately and wait further instructions. Warning, there has been a containment breach. Please evacuate the laboratory immediately and wait further instructions. Warning, there has been a containment breach. Please evacuate the laboratory immediately and wait further instructions. 1902. Containment.
Here, I brought you some food.
How long do I have to stay here?
Just until we make sense of everything that's gone on these last couple days.
Look, I've told these guys everything I know. We arrived at the lab, something broke out, everything went into lockdown, and then anyone who died came back as something else.
Let's just go through everything that has happened step by step, just in case there's anything important that could have been missed. I'm here to help you, and I just need to be able to understand all that's happened these last few days. What happened after you escaped from the facility?
I just wanted to get as far away as I could. I spotted a broken nether portal, and in the chest I found a flint and steel, and then...
Look at my notes. Is that the same flint and steel you used later?
Yeah, and that was also right when I met Aragon.
Oh, hello? You drooled on your shirt. Oh, it's a medical condition. Oh, yeah, I have that too.
We seemed to hit it off and decided to travel together for the time being. We didn't know what all was happening, but we thought, hey, two is definitely better than one. I just wish I could have spent more time with him.
I was just gonna keep running and hopefully find a village.
Oh god, okay, there's a lot of mobs.
Oh, baby zombie, I think. Where was the path?
I saw a path a little back. Wait, follow me.
There wasn't much but plains and ice around us, but we did find a couple of trees that we cut down to make some basic tools.
Some people that are, like, very skilled, oh god, okay. Yep, no, okay, we're fine. We're fine. This is great. So, do you like the craft?
Do I like the craft or to craft?
Yeah, I got him. Smack him. There you go. Hell yeah. Oh god. Okay, hey buddy.
I'm gonna get us a sword.
That'll be great. Okay, we should probably try to find pre-made structures because every loot is going to be gone in like the next 10 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe we follow the path and hope that we stumble across something?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, cool.
Can you craft saddles?
So many mobs! No.
Dang.
No.
If we can get
Unless
a
they've made
saddle
that
and get
custom.
horses, that would be amazing.
Ooh, that would be really good. That would be really, really good. Should we kill the animals? Yes, right?
I think
Probably,
so.
like,
We're gonna want food. But as the first signs of daylight hit, we came across another group passing through. They seemed to pay us no attention, so I continued to look for food in the area, but next thing I knew, Aragon was nowhere in sight. Somehow we'd been separated. And that was also the last time I'd ever see him.
How long were you on your own after that?
It was a few minutes before I would see another person.
How was Aragon up to that point? Did he show any signs of anything?
No, he was as normal as could be. Deeper into the forest, I found a hole in the side of a hill. It was obvious someone had been here, but I saw no signs of anybody around. So I went in to see if there was anything I could loot from it. And rummaging through things, that's when I met Obscurity.
Hello?
Hi, I'm just using your crafting table.
That's okay.
Your pork's done, I brought you some new stuff.
Oh, thank you.
As payment and thanks.
I didn't expect this. Were you just running around?
Right now, it's just trying to get stuff to survive. I felt a little bad about lying to them like that, but the last thing that I wanted to do was make any enemies. I stuck around for a few minutes and we managed to scrounge up together a little bit of iron, but then I just left. Not a word, no nothing. I don't know what happened to them after, but that was also the last time I saw them like that as well.
What do you mean, like that?
Human. After leaving Obscurity, I did everything I could to stay on the move. I was hoping if I'd wandered far enough, I'd come across some sort of village or road or really anything. I did find a bridge, and at the time I was relieved to see a set of cart tracks going up the hill. Because if someone had spent the time to put that together, I was sure that it meant that, it was a well-traveled road and maybe someone would be around. I thought I was putting more and more distance between myself and that lab. But it wasn't long before I found a dead end and a radio tower. I'm just glad you guys picked up the broadcast I sent from it. Otherwise, I don't know what would have happened.
Well, we didn't receive anything. There's been no communication from Capper's Labs or the surrounding area since the lockdown.
What? Hello, does anybody copy? My name is Spen, and there was a containment breach at Capper's Laboratories. Everyone was ordered to evacuate. Something broke out, and we don't know what's happened. I was the first to escape from the lab, and I've only seen a few people since. Is there anyone listening? Hello? If you are out there, please send help. Whatever happened at Capris? It's not natural. From there, I just went into the trees and I kept going. Even though it was a dead end, I wasn't turning back. There was no way I wanted to go anywhere near that facility again. Eventually, the forest gave way to Badlands, and after the Badlands, a strange biome I'd never seen before. Everything gave off this dark, sickly red.
Are you sure? There's nothing like that in the reports I read.
I've never seen anything like it. I wouldn't have gone through, but I saw buildings on the other side, or what I thought was buildings. I didn't realize at the time that I'd unknowingly circled right back around to the lab and was just looking at it from the other side. All I'd done was make my way right back around to where I started.
And you didn't meet or see anyone else from the time you left Obscurity to when you arrived back at the lab?
No, I was on my own till then.
What was the state of the lab when you arrived?
The alarm had stopped, the doors were unlocked, and I just walked in. I don't know exactly what I saw, but it looked like all manner of mobs were being tested on. And at the center of the room, I wasn't alone in there. Something was in there with me.
Another person?
I don't know what it was, but it was massive and it had broken its way out of the glass and it was spreading everywhere.
Can you describe what it looked like?
It was as if roots of a large tree had sprouted out of the glass, but instead of bark and wood, it was this pulsating and moving flesh. It was all flesh. Every part of it. It was alive. While looking around, I heard the sounds of some people and called out to them, hoping, just praying it was someone that could help. Hello?
Hello? G, hi.
Oh, there's people.
Well, yeah, no, we are people, but you're naked. Are you good?
Did you
I've been on the run a little bit.
hey, put some pants on, bro?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, here, I got Yeezys.
Oh my god, you're so kind.
No,
Yeah,
we got
There
you, bro.
go. Put
We are
some
friends.
pants and stuff on. Have you just been here the whole time?
Another person showed up and we talked for a minute or so, and then I snuck out of there and went my separate way.
You make them sound like good people. Why leave on your own without saying anything?
They just seemed too calm and comfortable for everything that had happened.
And you said they gave you pants and Yeezys?
Well, leather boots.
And why call them Yeezys?
Have you heard of Quackity?
Who?
Never mind. Just outside the facility, I found a hungry and lost dog and started to follow me. And then a little bit further down from that, we found another one, and before we knew it, there were a few of us.
Are these the same as the dog we picked you up with?
Yeah, it's the one I made it out of there with.
Did it look that way when you found it?
No, they started to change over time, just like the rest of the animals I saw. Hey, have you been able to help it?
What happened next?
I knew I was going to need another source of food as the animals were sparse and I wasn't just eating for one anymore. While traveling through the forest, I came across Minivix, Top Hat Bro, and VN43. They had a similar idea in mind and we were all going to work together to get some food. Hey, how is VN43?
I've only spoken with you so far.
I found a pond a little ways away from the others. All we really needed to start growing things was some water. I did have some bone meal on me, so I quickly threw together some wheat before heading back, but it didn't look right. Its color was off. At the time, I wasn't sure if I was just seeing things, but it still made bread, and it tasted good, I think. Or maybe I was just that hungry. The sun had set as I was making my way back into the forest to meet up with the others, but at the time I wasn't sure if I'd gotten lost, or if maybe I didn't find my way back to them, or if maybe they'd changed their mind and had gone somewhere else. I couldn't find them. So I decided to keep going, and that's when I found myself at the border. When we first arrived at the facility, they told us that during an emergency, a border was supposed to stabilize around the lab, and I'd forgotten about that up until this point. Nothing could come in, nothing could come out. And so I decided that maybe I should just settle down at the pond and wait. As there wasn't really anything else I could do. But it ended up working out, because a couple minutes later, Minivix and Top Hat Bro found their way over to me, where I was, but without VN43. Together, the three of us set up camp. We continued to expand the farm, and we dug out a hobbit hole to store all of our resources. Just a little bit further back, so that hopefully any passers-by wouldn't find it. Because we didn't really know who we were going to come across, or maybe when we would even. And for that brief time, we survived together. Also, the dog pack was becoming a bit more of a dog army. From there, I spent some time mining, trying to gather some different resources that would help us, and hopefully come across some diamonds, but unfortunately, we never found any of those. But I did find some sheep, and carefully I was able to lure them back, although it didn't come without its own set of problems along the way. Let's just say that luring sheep long distance isn't an easy task without a lead. From there, I began to do a little bit of fishing to hopefully bring in a little bit extra food. But then more and more survivors started to come by, which, isn't usually a bad thing, but some of them were telling stories of people that began to suddenly act strange or just weird things they were seeing, changes in others and the wildlife. It had me a little nervous after what I saw at the lab.
You talk about this place like you intended to be there for a while, but according to my notes you didn't stay there for long. What happened?
One of the survivors that came through had mentioned coordinates to an airdrop that they'd gotten from a radio tower. At first I wasn't going to go, but it got me thinking that, we didn't know at the time how long we'd be stuck inside the border, and maybe if other survivors knew about the airdrop, this was going to be a good chance to meet others and get some information on what was going on, and maybe people had some answers. And, I was really hoping we'd be able to bring a few others back to camp and just feel safer together. Because everyone else that had come through here, they just wanted to keep moving.
Where were the other two at this point?
They'd gone out to search for supplies, but they hadn't come back yet. I wasn't sure when they would get back. I did want to wait for them, but I was worried that people wouldn't stick around the airdrop for long. I still wonder that if I'd waited for them before going, maybe things could have turned out differently and well, they'd still be here. Especially since what I didn't know at the time was that going to the airdrop was going to be one of the worst decisions that I'd make.
Hello, Spen. I am Dr. Ortega. I will be continuing the rest of this investigation.
Is everything okay? Some alarm went off and I was brought into this place.
Nothing to worry about, just some routine maintenance.
He's not coming back?
He wasn't feeling well, so we sent him home to get some rest.
But what if he gets...
It was just a little bit of indigestion.
Yeah,
Nothing
but
to be alarmed about. Why don't we continue where you left off? I believe you were about to talk about your first encounter with one of the enhanced?
You mean the infected?
Yes. Tell me more about the infected.
I was on my way to the supply drop's coordinates when Aragon came jumping in. He was jumping in so high I thought maybe he'd found a new enchantment or something like that, but we ended up talking briefly and...
I'm an infected now, but we have a history. I'm gonna let you live, okay?
What did he look like? Did he sound any different? How high could he jump?
He looked just like himself. I think he sounded the same, and he could easily jump clear over my head.
And he just let you go?
Yeah, he went on ahead as I was getting my dogs out of the water.
Fascinating. This is not what I expected at all. Tell me more. What happened next?
It wasn't until climbing the icy mountain that I started to really think about what Aragon had said, that he was infected. My gut feeling was that I needed to keep my distance, especially after the horrors we witnessed back at the lab. Maybe that was all connected. I bumped into Aragon near the supply drop again. He mentioned something about how he couldn't keep letting me live, but right as we were talking, another group showed up, and he quickly hid off behind a chunk of ice. I still wasn't sure what all was going on, so I left as quickly as I could. And then, on the way out, that's when MMA found me. And from the tone of their voice, I knew something was off, and I could feel their intent to kill.
The Enderman?
Yeah, she was just like one, teleporting around anywhere she wanted.
Could you see how it worked?
Not really, but she didn't seem to be using any ender pearls.
How strong was she?
That I don't know. We didn't end up fighting. She didn't seem to have a full grasp on her powers as she was teleporting into and out of the blocks a few times.
That's a shame. And then you saw Melty, Beef, and Finn next. What were they like? What could they do?
Well, I did, but they weren't infected yet.
Leaving the icy mountains behind, my next goal was to collect as much food as I could to grow out the dog army. I was pretty sure they were the only thing that had stopped MMA from coming after me at that moment. And if others would start turning as well, then hopefully I could use the dogs as leverage to avoid a few more conflicts. I thought that was going to be my best shot at survival. And thankfully I was right. Just down the hill I saw a van and assumed it was another structure left behind in the area, but I didn't expect to find Melty, Beef, and Finn there.
Security under bro.
Do y'all want any?
Oh my God!
Any employees?
Melty. I'm afraid we'll have to discuss that later.
Oh my God! How are you doing?
Oh my God, Spen!
So I left Emily at home, which might have been a mistake.
Look at their doggies.
Thanks.
You want a carrot? Here you go.
Oh, thanks. Oh, it looks delicious. Did you guys find this van, or did you guys build this?
No, we
I
built
built
it.
this.
This is our soft taco van.
Do you want to
Can I come to the
other side?
You don't have to pay.
Maybe later,
Spend-
Melty, but I'm currently dealing with a customer
Hi
right
there.
now, right?
Oh, okay.
Hey,
all right,
Spent.
all right.
Hey,
Hey, Spontaneous, would you we have a wide
let me-
selection
let
for
me-
you today.
let me put my weapons away. I don't want to be... What the heck? Oh.
Hey, no problem.
What
Some
are
of your
you...
dogs got trapped in our defense boats.
I have
by
a
the way.
Mingus burger. I recommend the Mingus burger.
Oh man, they're all
It's
getting
really
trapped
good.
in the defense
Yes.
boats.
We can
Oh,
clear
wait,
that
oh,
out
no.
later.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we'll
first
fix
selection
that.
of meals today. We
Yeah.
have the cooked mutton. We have the beef soft tacos.
Ooh, you know what?
We
Your
have
soft tacos
roast-
are my absolute favorite.
Well, hold on, let me finish. You might
sorry,
get
sorry.
surprised. We have the roast chicken, and we have the well-coveted Mingus burger. The Mingus burger is our newest meal. It is great.
How much for a Mingus burger?
Oh, it's practically free.
Oh, can I go for a Mingus burger?
Yeah, sure. Will you be feeding the rest of your dogs as well?
They're bottomless pits. They won't stop eating.
All right, let me get you the family deal.
What if I were to pay for some in amethyst shards?
I'm afraid we'll have to discuss the price after the burger.
That's suspicious.
Here you go. There's your Mingus burgers.
Oh my god, that's so many. Thank you.
Yeah, well, it's for all the dogs.
have.
And you're sure Beef wasn't already influenced by the infection? That's pretty evil.
No, that's just how Beef is. Or was? Yeah, he did that kind of stuff all the time.
I see.
There's those.
Ooh, hey, he had amethyst shards.
Hey, no, Ray, really. I believe you. Just don't really have a value for them.
You're wearing clothes.
Oh, you want all my clothes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mingus burgers don't come cheap.
What if I give you...
I don't have any pants, so I'm gonna need pants. Do you want me to go pantless just because you couldn't pay for your burgers?
No. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do here, but I knew I had 3 choices. Give them what they wanted, run away, or catch them by surprise and fight. But I didn't know what kind of weapons they had, and Beef could have had some pretty decent enchantments on. I had no idea what all they could have forced from others up until this point, but thankfully I was able to convince them to take some of my valuables instead of the dogs. And then Melty decided to come along with me. Of my 3 days in the Ablockalypse, this was the shortest team-up I made with anybody. Emily had died, so Melty had nowhere to go back to, and we set off together. We walked for about a minute or so from the van until we found a tunnel. By the time I turned around, Melty was out of the render distance, and I had no idea where she'd gone. About 40 blocks from that road and tunnel, I found a second cave hidden by a little hill, and inside, I found what would help provide me with enough dogs to survive the rest of the lockdown. I established a small base behind the spawner and began planning to make a zombie farm, but quickly realized I had no idea what I was doing. I had never made one before. I decided it was better to look for iron, especially after my encounter with Beefman and Finn. The equipment I had was not going to cut it. But little did I know that as the end of day 1 began to approach, there was a single item, one of the most important items that I would find within these 3 days, was within the chest, right here.
What do you mean by the end of the first day? How many days and nights had happened up until this point?
Oh, no, IRL days. The event was streamed over the course of 3 Saturdays. So day 1, 2, 3.
Oh, gotcha.
Not a lot happened during the first half of day 2. I got a lot of rotten flesh, and I filled out my iron gear. I didn't find any diamonds, but I did find a skeleton spawner, and from that, I made enough bone meal to keep myself fed until rescue arrived at the end of day 3. But I was worried about the dogs, as, well, they'd started to change.
In what ways? Can you describe what was happening? What it looked like?
They still seemed to act like normal, but parts of their fur began to scab over and crack and bleed. It mostly started on the top of their heads and by their ears, but over time it started to happen in other areas as well.
Right as things were starting to get comfortable behind the zombie spawner, the border destabilized, and it began shrinking. I knew I had to take the risk and head back out, because a lot of the surrounding area was about to be lost once the border shrunk in, and I wanted to see if there was anything out there that I could loot before it was too late. As the sun began to rise, I climbed the hill I'd been living under and crossed its bridge to the other side. Except, I turned back after halfway, and I just kind of hung out at the top of the hill for a while.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You didn't go anywhere or see anything?
No, I just waited in a hole.
For how long?
About 35 minutes?
Once the border had restabilized, it expanded back out a little bit, but it didn't give us back everything. My base being one of the things still lost. And because of that, I was forced to move on, leaving behind many of the valuable items I'd left in the chests there, and as well as a lot of food. But while this started out as the beginning of a tragedy, it's very, very quickly evolved into the greatest moment of my 3 days there. Because soon I would find the single most important item to my survival, and combining that with the item I had found before in the zombie spawner room, well, that would cement my survival, and it would be the reason why I'm here right now. Because just up the hill from the zombie spawner, there was a narrow cave, and near the back of it, another dungeon with a chest and a spawner. And in that chest, the one item that changed everything. With it now in my possession, I needed only one more thing to complete the Holy Trinity. And there wasn't much time left for day 2. As well as the areas that I knew had what I wanted were now blocked off by the border. So I needed to try somewhere else. And I ended up taking a big gamble, and I went back and crossed the corrupted biome in hopes of finding what I needed on the other side. But the gamble paid off far better than I expected, and much sooner too, because it was within that biome that I found what I had been searching for. A horse. And I lucked out too. It had a lot of hearts, some decent speed, and a high jump. And together that completed the Holy Trinity. The diamond armor I found in the first spawner room, the saddle I found when the border stopped shrinking, and finally the horse. I couldn't believe how close they'd been together. Oh my god, did I get lucky. I planned to spend the rest of the day riding around, because even if I saw an infected, there was no way it could keep up with me now, right? So I hoped to scout out the area and see what all we were dealing with. Man, I'd spent so much time away from everyone, I had no idea what all had gone down or what had transpired while I was underground. And then well into the night is when I came across my first survivor in a while. Lopez.
Hello? Hey, I'm a survivor too.
Okay.
Hey, you're the first person I've seen in like hours.
You have a lot of dogs.
Yeah.
You okay? You chill?
Yeah. Do you need any food?
I mean, more food is always nice, but I've got some.
Okay, I don't have much, so I'd rather not give any unless you need
that's
it.
Fine. I'm just a bit shocked right now, because I almost just got my ass handed to me by Beefman and his invisible teammate.
Wait, Isn't Beefman a player?
Okay, so I was running an experiment earlier, and it went wrong, and it turned Beefman into a trickster, which means he is a survivor in disguise. And
Lopez didn't go super into detail, but from what I could gather, one of Lopez's friends had become infected, and the two of them, along with Beefman, tried to cure them from the infection. But in the process, the friend wasn't cured from the infection, and Beefman ended up becoming infected. But his was special, because somehow he didn't show any signs of the infection. But since Lopez didn't want to team up, we ended up parting ways, and I spent the rest of my time that day riding around hoping to come across maybe some other survivors that would hopefully be willing to group up.
And now this was the last day before we recovered you. Is that correct?
Yeah, the final day I was there.
Tell me everything. Don't skip any details.
It started out a lot better than I expected it would. It was only a few minutes before I met my first survivor of the day.
Hello?
Oh, let's go.
Hey!
Yo, what's up?
Hey, another person!
OK Salem was in the same kind of boat as me. No group, on our own, and no idea what happened the last 2 days.
Wait, you have an enchanting table?
Yeah.
Oh, I just threw all my lapis on the ground.
I have lapis, it's fine.
Oh, really? Dude,
Yeah.
that would be amazing.
I'd only just met Salem, so I still wasn't too sure about him. I was worried that might try and take the horse and ride off with it as soon as I stepped down to enchant my armor. But I knew I needed those enchantments. So I took the risk, placed my faith in Salem, and it ended up paying off. But if only I'd noticed the signs sooner. The biggest thing for me was I wanted to stay on the move. I'd learned the fate of Beefman, but I had no idea what happened to Finn or Melty. And there also wasn't much that remained of where the food truck once was. And on top of that, if Beefman could have been infected as a trickster, who's to say there weren't others out there too? And so we began our journey. Up to the top of another hill and just hung out there and talked for a while. But it was nice. It was the longest contact I'd had with anyone who wasn't just trying to swindle me. But it was also up on that hill where we started to notice differences in the dogs. Whatever was causing them to bleed and scab over, it was affecting them even more now. And there were even signs of it on the horse. When day came, we were back on the move. Some new structures had started to pop up around the facility. I thought maybe some survivors had tried to group up or maybe leave messages for some others. But then we saw our first cluster of infecteds, and Finn being one of them.
Oh, hey, there's... Oh my god, it's Ben. Hi, Sven!
Hi!
Did you want to buy a taco?
No,
Hey,
not
did
at
you
the
wanna buy a
moment.
taco?
Not at the moment.
Oh, okay.
Let's just go
Wait,
this way.
wait, my taco place is right here. My taco place is right here. I can sell you a taco.
Oh wait, is this your taco place?
Yeah, this is my taco place. Oh my goodness, I would love to sell you a taco. Here, I don't have a lot of options right now. We're currently vegan.
Would you like some raw meat that you can use to make other tacos?
I will gladly accept that trade. Here, have some bread.
Cool, and you know what? Here, have
some
two
tacos.
boats. Those are the boats you guys placed over at the original taco stand.
Hey! Thank you. Here, have some taco seasoning.
Oh, thanks. Did you want some more resources? Because I could go get some out of the chest and run it back here for you.
Yeah, that would be awesome if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, not at all. I can do that.
Thank you very much.
I had no intentions of collecting any of these resources for Finn. It was pretty obvious he'd also been infected, and while he had whatever sanity was left, I wanted to give Finn a good reason to let us go. Because I wanted to avoid fighting as much as possible. I don't know how to explain it. It was Finn, but something was off.
And what of the others?
Well, Finn was the only one that came over. The others just sort of left.
Interesting. What happens next?
Just as we were leaving, a group of infected came running at us. I don't know if this was planned by Finn or if it happened by chance. We were able to get away, but when we started to recollect ourselves, we realized some of the dogs were gone, while others returned injured or on fire. We tried to get as far away as we could. Taking the mountain tunnel, we followed the path through the mountains, but then ended up just right back on the other side of the facility. Again. But there was another new structure, this time built here in the middle of the road.
This looks like another taco stand.
Hello?
Oh, hello?
Hey, Sven!
Oh, it's beef.
Oh, beef!
It's beef taco stand.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
I heard you had a falling out with, your previous partner.
I did. I was not very happy at all. Would you guys like to order some food?
You know what? Yeah, I'd love to order some food.
What are the prices?
Okay, so I have some blocks of baked beans and some seeds.
Oh, can I do some baked beans? I've got some raw beef you might like.
Actually, we're only accepting 1 iron.
Oh, I can do that. I only have 1 iron actually.
Oh, that's good then. I just need 1.
Well, here.
Thank you. And here's your baked beans. Here's your baked beans.
Oh, thank you.
Hey, Spen, do you think you could do me a favor?
Yeah, what's up?
My former business partner, now rival, Finn Soley, has started their own taco shop. I've been telling this to all the survivors that have stopped by. If you come across anyone, can you recommend my place and not theirs?
Yeah, for sure. I haven't been to their place yet, but I'm sure yours is really much better.
I was the OG. I was the first one.
Yeah,
exactly.
You've got all that experience.
And they're just a knockoff. And they're vegan.
Vegan?
Yeah, I know, right?
How do you be vegan in Apocalypse?
Probably because they just took all the food that we made in the taco truck, and that was mostly vegetables.
And now we've lied to both Finn and Beef, which hopefully that won't come back to bite us. But right after we left from Beef's place, Salem shared some information with me. He told me that he was sick, and that he was dying from natural causes. I mean, actually, he had a family thing that he had to go to, but this is more dramatic, and it fits better with the cinematic vibe of the whole story. So, you know, he's sick. Yeah, he's dying. I couldn't believe it. All the signs had been there. But so much had been going on, I didn't notice. Some friend I was. But we couldn't let our story together end with sadness, so we immortalized our journey and our friendship. The Blood Wolves would live on. Goodbye, OK Salem. But I will always remember that you were more than okay. You were great. I spent the next bit of time scouting and preparing different avenues for escape. Now that I was back on my own, I wanted to make sure that I knew where everything was, and that wherever I decided to go, I was prepared. And then it was there at the top of the helipad that I met another group of survivors.
Oh, survivors!
Oh my.
How you guys doing? But then we all started to glow and I freaked out and I got the crap out of there.
It worked.
Wait, what worked?
I mean, I suspect it worked.
What was it?
Not that I would know what was happening, but if I were to take a guess, it must be something to do with the infection reacting to others.
Wait, so we're all infected?
No, it only takes hold once you die. Now, continue on with your retelling. From the notes I read of your first interrogation, we're about to get to the good part.
I wanted to get as far away from the facility as I could, and to help stay hidden, I needed to avoid other survivors as much as possible. So I stuck with the age-old strategy of climb to the top of a hill, because with my horse I had the advantage climbing both up and down. Unless people chasing me had ender pearls, there was no way they could keep up. But I was worried I could get caught off guard. There was a lot of places people could hide up here, so I burned down as many trees as I could.
I love your dogs.
Oh, hey.
Hey.
You stuck on me pretty good there.
Well, that's in the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
I am a creeper.
Hi.
Hi.
After all this time, even though Aragon had died and come back as whatever he was now, he still was Aragon. He still retained part of what made him who he was. So I wondered, maybe my best chance of survival wasn't to kill the infected or hide from them, but to persuade them that keeping me alive was in their best interest. But of course not bribery, because there was no transaction going on here. It was just me giving a gift. That's all it was. And the plan ended up being extremely effective. What I didn't know at the time was that some of the survivors had been killing the infected a lot. And as a result, they didn't have that much on them. So my gifts were, in a sense, super effective.
Are you serious?
Yep.
You survived because you were nice.
Well, and I had dogs. And a horse.
We're going to have to fix that for next time.
What?
Nothing. Please carry on.
After Aragon left, it was peaceful for a moment, and I ended up getting lost in my thoughts for a brief enough moment that a second infected managed to get the jump on me. And this time, it was my old friend Melty K. But they came in aggressive. I knew they were after me. They were out for blood. But thankfully, I didn't have to do so much. My dogs did most of the work for me. I did get the final hits, though. I'm sorry!
This is so mean! No, you're not.
With my area compromised, I was back on the move. I was afraid to take any chances, so I started making the first hits on any infected I saw.
Oi!
I didn't want to give them a chance to leak my position. But many of them seemed more frightened than anything, as if they were just trying to escape. And then others, well, I don't know what they were up to.
Wait, no, come back. It's totally peaceful, I promise.
Wait, no, I don't want to.
Sven, look, I just want to talk.
We can talk from a distance.
No, I don't want to talk from a distance. I need close, interpersonal relationships, Sven.
Why? What's going on?
It's healthy.
Doctor, you're needed.
What's going on out there?
It will have to wait. We're in the middle of something here.
Doctor, it's...
Whatever it is, it can wait. This is much more important.
Oh God, this is bad.
Please continue.
Right. Well, that evening, I bumped back into Evanas Loco.
Hey, long time no see!
Yo, oh my gosh.
How you doing?
Dogs. Hi. Nice dog armor.
Oh, thank you. They're my friends. They've kept me alive. They scare off the infected.
We didn't talk for long, but other survivors began grouping up in the area. It was possible the infected they got away from knew where they went, and if so, who knows how many were on their way over here right now.
Were there any other moments where you got to speak with an infected?
I don't think there were that many. Actually, there was one just before the helicopter paged us. Hey, if you don't mind asking, what's it like being infected? Like, is it different? What's changed?
It's very...
Hi, Beef! Oh, bye,
I
Beef!
feel like I don't have
God.
a frontal lobe anymore.
All right. You what?
I feel like I don't have a frontal lobe anymore. I just kind of backed on instinct. It's fun.
I didn't expect they would be that coherent.
Do you have any idea what was happening to them?
I thought for sure they would be a bit more obsessed with increasing their numbers.
Well, I mean, they definitely were, just some weren't as aggressive about it.
Consider being an infected sometime.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
You'll be the first people I come and talk to. What I wanted to do was circle around to the other side of the facility, but the only way I knew I could get there with my horse was back around the helipad. But when I tried, it wasn't safe there either. The hardest part right now was trying to figure out which infecteds were aggressive and which ones were passive. So I did the only thing that I was apparently really good at. I waited on top of the hill.
Seriously?
What?
You sound so proud of that.
Well, I mean, I did survive.
We have received a distress call from Capper's Laboratories. They're dispatching a rescue helicopter to pick up civilians. To be there in 10 minutes. I repeat, evacuation in 10 minutes. Over.
That was what I'd been waiting for. At the base of the mountain, I stayed with a few survivors, but with the recent infected we'd seen, I thought best to split up. I wanted to take one last look at Capper's Labs before leaving, but I didn't have the courage to step into it. So I bided my time in the field nearby until daybreak hit. But the time of waiting was over. The bridge I'd built was still intact, and we galloped as fast as we could up to the helipad. I was the first one to make it there, and hopping off the horse, I began to climb the ladder, with Zombie Dwarf right behind me. One of the infecteds got the horse, and I could hear the dogs fighting for their lives down below. Yet somehow one of them managed to get up into the helicopter with us. VN43 and Amy Mealy scrambled up the ladder together, but Amy fell off at the top and was lucky enough to climb back up a second time. The infected had the place surrounded, and Lopez, who was trailing a little bit behind, was taken out by the zombies halfway up the ladder. But that was it. Of everyone at the facility 3 days prior, we were the only ones to make it out. We were the only 4 to survive. Hey, what's that alarm for? Wait, where are you going? Hey! Hey, you can't just leave me in here! No! You can't just leave me in here!